Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What's in a Performance, the series where I take scores, performances, videos, break them down, analyze them, and discuss what our favorite pianists are doing in order to achieve the sounds and recordings that they are getting. Today I'm going to be reviewing a video that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that is Kate Leo's performance at the 2015 International Chopin Competition of Chopin's Concerto in E minor. I remember the first time I listened to this recording and I was just positively floored. But the reason why I kind of held off on doing this video until now is because the whole piece is very long. Even the first movement is like 20 minutes long. And yeah, I have decidedly little experience playing concertos. But be that as it may, there's a lot to dissect, there's a lot to think about, and there's a lot to listen to, even with what Leo is doing here in this one performance. And so with all that being said, let's get right to the video. Alright, Kate Leo performing Chopin's first concerto. As per usual, I'm going to be stopping a whole lot, so if you haven't heard the original already, you should go do that right now. And we're also just going to start where the piano comes in. And when I do demonstrations, please remember that I'm just sight reading the piece. I haven't played this before, so I'm going to make some mistakes if I do. But anyways, let's get to it. Yeah, it's right there. Ooh, ending. That E, I feel like other people tend to accelerate towards the E and they drive off this last E. But instead, Leo plays it very delicately, very lightly, and lifts off gently, right? And just all sparkle from lifting the fingers, right? Even that trill, all finger. And then the lift again. And that's just sparkle. Right, like there's no delicate for da 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 da. Instead da 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 da, just shimmer, right, coming straight down. Ooh. That's just heavenly. Every time I hear this, I'm just shook. I'm just shook by how good it is. To be clear, right, there are other fantastic recordings of this. Actually, the first recording that I heard of this concerto was one that my teacher played a really, really long time ago. What's interesting to me about Leo's interpretation, even here so far, right, is that the tempo is not super fast, right? I've heard this play faster, I've heard this play slower, but not much slower. Like, I feel like this is in the middle towards like slow-ish, right? And that makes sense because if you heard the third movement, like that's when Leo really goes off and there's like a lot of speed. And so that's where she displays a lot of her virtuosity. But I mean, even here, like coming out like this, that sort of control, right, in this section. Like this is probably the easiest thing that she's going to play, technically speaking, in this entire performance, right? And it's just straight chords and a very simple melody line over top, but the way that she melts it in, contrasts this, right? These sparkly runs before, and then slowly builds up and just like melts in. I'm a massive sucker for melodies to just melt in with the phrasing, right? This comes in from a very expressive, like sort of pianissimo, and just comes in out of nowhere, oozes out, right? And here is a little bit heavier, right? You can even see from the way her hand lifts, right? When she wants a little bit more articulation, fingers come a little bit higher. And then here, sparkle, right? Light sparkle. Hand then lowers, the fingers lift to strike each key, but they lift a lot less in order to give her more speed, but also lightness, and again, sparkle. It's almost like Mozart-like, right, in the way that you play those sorts of runs. But you layer the pedal over it, and then it becomes like romantic, right, and beautiful in that sort of sense. Wow. It's just so delicate. Right, you see how she ends phrases? Slight wrist lift, right? But then everything else, hand just moving like this. You see the weightiness? The weight is going into the keys. Oh, that pull! Right? This is when you push and pull the tempo. It's never just, oh, I pull, right, I'm speeding up, I'm rushing. As I've mentioned multiple times before on this channel and have yet to make a video on it, we don't want to take the beat or the pulse as a discrete point in space, right? We want to take it as like an abstract 2D object that's just like floating along. Almost like we're playing Guitar Hero or Rock Band or like a rhythm game where the notes are like falling and we have like a range of times where we can press the key and it will still be on beat. When we hit the point like right in the middle, then it sounds like we're exactly lined up. When we hit anywhere in front, we feel like we push a little without actually sliding out of tempo. And when we hit anywhere on the back, then it feels like we pull a little without sliding out of tempo. And all these things are accomplished by both a sense of like feeling like you're moving forward, like giving direction to the music, and also by a sense of pulling back, like we want to retreat a little or create a little bit of tension with the music. And sometimes these pushes and pulls are accomplished also by the way that you breathe, thinking about how you phrase, thinking about how a singer would phrase perhaps, right? And that's how some of this comes through. Now, what I should say is that the size of this note, the size of this beat, changes depending on the composer. For Beethoven, perhaps, or Mozart, for classical music, it's a little bit smaller, right? It's a lot smaller because you don't have as much freedom to manipulate the tempo. But for something like Chopin, that beat gets bigger, right? We have more space to work with before it feels like it slides out, before it feels like we're dragging, before it feels like we're rushing. Right, there's a little bit more movement. You can feel that she moves towards, again, she goes from playing at the back of the beat to like middle to like now almost pushing slightly, right? A little bit. It just feels like it's moving. And now she's playing at the back again, right? It's like you want these to be almost connected, but because it's difficult, instead Leo chooses to phrase it in such a way that it's a little bit like da 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 dum bum, right? Instead da 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 dum. So again, that's working with limitations. That's working with how the score is written, which is super good. Oh my gosh. So clean. Clean as in like a sound characteristic, not like her playing accuracy. Although that is very high as well. Ooh, the connecting, right? That's important. She wants to connect the top voice at the very least so that she can draw the phrase together. And you can hear the gluiness, right? That's because there's a little bit of, arm weight going into it. Even when she has to go 1-5-1-5, right, there's arm weight going into it so that she can control the gluey feeling and bring it together. Oh, you see that? Wait. Like arm weight, not like weight. Right. Dun dun dun. Right, there's a time and place. There's a time and place for wrist. I tell a lot of beginners you have to take out a lot of the wrist motion that you're using to play like your scales. Because you're compensating, you're not controlling with the fingers. You're not developing the independence that you need for each finger. But here, right, again, gluey detached with slight articulation. Right, it's almost like the soft mallet. Oh, big land. Wow. Oh my gosh. That is insanely difficult. Right, not only to get this... Okay. Yeah, she's using pedals so that it's smoothed over, but like, it's almost like you recognize that you can't connect each note the way that you want to because of the speed that you're going and because of the technicality and the way that the fingers are going to be moving. Each note then becomes intentionally bouncy in the same way. So it's less so the way that it's connected or drawn together and more so the consistency in how each note is played that makes this part stand out and again, shimmer, sparkle, have that sort of like spicy texture, right, through the pedal. Right, all that weight, look at how in order to give those little bits of articulation on the quarter, right, da 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 da, right, like, oh my gosh, this is huge. How does somebody play this? So in order to play with articulation at such a high, like, we're driving so much weight into the keys already, what'd she do? She adds a little bit of attack on the chord. And then there it is, right? Big ending. Whew. Dang, man. I love this concerto, and I've heard like many interpretations, many performances, but this one just blew me away. I don't know what Leo does so incredibly differently. I don't even know if I can say that she plays it better, right? Because they're to each their own. I was just hit. So hopefully I did a somewhat decent job of explaining what she does and pointing things out that hopefully will help you with your own playing. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you'd like to see the full-length version of this video, or if you would like to support the production of these sorts of videos, you can do so on Patreon. And if you would like to hear me review other people's playing, you should click right here. Or if you would like to hear me play, you should click right here. And until next time, everybody, peace.